AI VPATs are here. What this means is that you can now generate a filled-in VPAT using AI, starting with your accessibility audit report. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it starting right now. So we're inside of the Accessibility Tracker platform. We're on the projects page. I'm going to add a new project. And then so for project title, I'm going to enter company accessibility project. For the description, I'll go ahead and write audit plus remediation plus ACR. And then we'll select web application. For the URL, I'm going to go ahead and enter accessible.org. So let's see here. Yes, accessible.org, enter that. And then we create a project. All right, and so we've got this project. It's going to be, I've got multiple projects here, so this will be the latest project on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and view details. And what you will see is that no issues are found, and that's because Accessibility Tracker is an audit-based platform. It's not based on a scans like virtually every other platform, because if you base your platform on a scan, you're going to be limited by scan results. Scans can only reliably flag 13% of WCAG 2.2 AA success criteria, so it is so important that we're tracking progress based on an audit report. This enables us to know exactly where we're at in terms of WCAG conformance. So I'm going to go ahead and upload an accessibility audit report. So I'm going to go here, click upload file. You don't see it, but a new window has come up, so I can select the file. I've selected the file, and then what we can see is that the issues are mapping correctly inside of Accessibility Tracker. Now, this is going to work for accessible.org audits. It works for any other audits. As long as they're in Excel spreadsheet format, it doesn't matter who you have an audit from, you can use Accessibility Tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and process the data. So I've selected that now, and now we see that it's successfully processed, and then I'm going to save the issues to the project. All right, and so it is now saving the issues. It's extracting all of that valuable audit report data. This will only take a few seconds, and now we are done. So I'm going to go ahead and view the issues. Okay, and now we're on the project issues page. And if we scroll down, we can see what is really the audit report transposed inside of Accessibility Tracker. And just so you know, I'm going to tab now to a screenshot of an accessible.org audit report. Now, this audit report is an Excel spreadsheet format. Here we can see several columns: issue number, page title, page URL, environment, WCAG success criterion, issue title, issue description, applicable code, users affected, recommendation, and there are a few additional columns, including a column for a screen recording or a screenshot. The point here is that this is very valuable data that's going to help your team not only locate the issue, but know exactly what the issue is. And then you have the recommended fix as well. So all of this data has been uploaded to Accessibility Tracker. And if we go to a single issue and we view that issue, we can see all of the data here for this one issue. So that's if we're working on a single issue. But let's go back to the broad view of the audit report, and let's focus in on this status column. So as you're working on an accessibility project, your team's going to make fixes. Once those fixes are complete on your side, you're going to mark those issues as completed. So let's go ahead and do that for a few issues. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that those issues have in fact been resolved. So that's where we're going to have an external validator come in and validate these fixes. And so let's go ahead and mark a few issues as validated. And usually it's the auditor who is doing the validation. But either way, we want to get to the point where we are validating these issues, because once we do, they're no longer going to reflect, and we're going to be able to track full WCAG conformance. The less of these issues there are, the more progress we will have made. And in terms of filling in a VPAT, the less issues will show on that VPAT. So a lot of times what clients do is they opt for an ACR post remediation. So this gives their team the ability to fix these issues and have a cleaner ACR. So I've marked several as validated. There are other status labels here. We can mark it as in progress, on hold, etc. But the point is that we can go ahead and update the accessibility audit report dynamically. And so now we've done that. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go back to projects. So we're going to scroll down and we're going to go back to this project that we just created. So let's go ahead and view the details. Okay, so now we're looking at the project. Here we can see there are some analytics. We've got 123 issues. You saw I was marking some issues as fixed, and so 62.5% of those are validated and so on. So we've got some nice analytics, but focus your attention on the VPAT tab. I've gone to that and we don't have a VPAT for this project, so I'm going to go ahead and click Generate New VPAT. On this next page, we're being prompted to enter in information that will go in the details section of the VPAT. So for company name, I'm going to enter Super Company, product name, Super App, version 1.3, product description, app that optimizes daily life, contact information, John Smith, and then john@company.com. And then we can go ahead and add any relevant notes here. And then so I'll go ahead and add the note ACR issued by XYZ. So that note is added. We can also paste in notes if you would like to paste them in. Next, we have scope. And so the scope has been extracted from the audit report. But if you'd like, you can also add any pages, screens, or views that are missing from the scope. And you also have the option to paste in the scope as well. I'm going to go ahead and leave the scope as is. And then we have the legal disclaimer. Keep in mind, these are all prompts that are taken from the VPAT. And so the VPAT prompts for a legal disclaimer. You don't have to enter one. I'll go ahead and leave this blank. Next, we have the WCAG standard. And so we can select either 2.0, 2.1, or 2.2 AA. I'm going to select 2.1 AA. And then last, we have evaluation methods. So there are several checkboxes here. I'm going to go ahead and select screen reader testing with JAWS, screen reader testing with VoiceOver, keyboard testing, visual inspection, code inspection, and then I'll leave the rest blank. All right, so now I'm going to generate the VPAT. And so Accessibility Tracker is working on analyzing all of the data. And then in just a few seconds, you will get a draft of the VPAT to review. And so it should be coming up. Yep, yes, it's coming up right now. VPAT generated successfully. So let's go ahead and view the VPAT. All right, and so now we have a draft, and we're going to look over all of the information and make sure it's accurate. Now, the details are going to be straightforward. Here we see all of the details that we just entered. Evaluation methodology, evaluation methods the same. We have notes, we have the scope, and then we have the applicable standards and guidelines. So here we can see 2.0 and 2.1 are in play. 2.1 includes 2.0. We can see level A and level AA are included in the report. Next, we have the terms. The terms are just carried forward from the VPAT. And then we get to the accessibility table. And so here we can see the conformance level column has several issues that are marked as does not support. And that is because we've only worked through a few issues from the accessibility audit report. Remember when we were going through the report inside of Accessibility Tracker, I only marked a few issues as validated. So the rest of the issues are still going to show up in this VPAT. And so if we scroll down, we can see there are several criteria that are marked as does not support. And then for those criteria, we have remarks and explanations added. And then for those criteria that support, it reads, no issues were identified for this criterion. What's important to note is that we're reviewing this. So if there's anything that needs to be corrected or anything that should be added or subtracted, we can do that by editing the VPAT. And I've gone up and just shown you at the top, we have the option to edit the VPAT. I'm not going to do that right now, but this is just to show you that we have this entire accessibility table filled out, and we also have the legal disclaimer at the bottom. Remember, we didn't enter any information there. So here we've got everything in place for us. Remember that this is just a draft. Now I'm going to scroll up and mark this as reviewed. All right, so here we have an ACR acknowledgement. We need to acknowledge that we have manually reviewed the AI generated VPAT. And so part of this is just to have a stopping point where you're thinking about, I need to make sure that this information is all correct. Remember, AI can make errors and omissions. It's so important that we keep that in mind because we do really need to manually review. Obviously, this process has been greatly accelerated, but we still need to make sure everything is accurate and complete. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in John Smith as the signer, and then I'm going to check the acknowledge box. And there are several bullet points here. I'm not going to read them all, but basically this is just stating that you've read through the AI generated VPAT and that everything is accurate and complete and that you are responsible for now generating the VPAT. So I'm going to sign and accept. Once we do that, then this report has been reviewed. So we can actually download the ACR in Word format, or we can make this public and view it online. So I'm going to make it public, and then now we get a shareable link. So I'm going to copy that link, and let's go ahead and I'm going to paste the link in the browser. And here is we're going to get our ACR, and we can see everything is in play. And we've got the same format that the VPAT is using. All of the prompts, the same prompts are here. So here we see super company, accessibility, conformance report, WCAG edition, and then we've got the name of the product and so on. We've got the scope listed. All of the details that are in the VPAT are now filled in. We've got the applicable standards, we've got the conformance level terms. And so really this is just bringing forward that information that we reviewed in the draft. As you remember, I didn't make any edits. So all of the same information is here, but now it's available online and we can share this link if we would like. And so here you can see you've got the complete VPAT filled in. It is now an ACR because we have manually reviewed it. And so everything's in place for you to have an AI generated VPAT. I keep saying VPAT because we need to manually review. That is so important that we make sure that the AI has entered the information correctly, particularly in the remarks and explanations column. But this does an excellent job at really saving you a lot of time here. I mean, this is going to be hours of time that are saved, and this is per project. And so this is available inside of the accessibility tracker platform. All you need is a paid plan and you will have access to this feature. There is so much more coming. For right now, it's for the WCAG edition. We will be adding additional additions to speed up the process there as well. But this is here. This is a really big breakthrough. This is Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know. This is our first release, but it's really good to start off with. I'll include a link to Accessibility Tracker in the description, and I'll also include any updates. So we will be updating this feature, and there are more features coming to Accessibility Tracker. This is just one of many, but I think this is one that a lot of people are going to gravitate to because it's going to save a lot of time. So I will include all of the resources in the description.